The Awakening. Ice cracked beneath Dr. Alan Pierce's boots as he trudged across the Arctic plain. His breath fogged in the bitter cold while he studied the readings on his handheld device. For the third time this week, the energy signatures made no sense. "You seeing this?" He called to his research assistant. Jack Freeman hurried over, his thick gloves making him clumsy as he reached for the device. "That can't be right. It's reading like there's a power source under the ice." Alan nodded, his face serious beneath his frost-covered beard. "And not just any power source. Whatever it is, it's massive." The two men stood silent for a moment, wind howling around them. This expedition was supposed to be routine, ice core samples, and climate research. Instead, they'd found something impossible. 3 days later, a military helicopter landed at their remote camp. Captain Lisa Reynolds stepped out, her uniform barely visible beneath her cold weather gear. 5 soldiers followed her, carrying equipment Alan didn't recognize. "Dr. Pierce." She extended a gloved hand. "I understand you found something unusual." Alan led her to the site where the readings were strongest. "It's about 200 feet below us. We've been drilling, but progress is slow." Captain Reynolds nodded to her team, who began unloading equipment. "We'll take it from here." "I discovered it," Alan protested. "I have a right to see what's down there." Lisa studied him for a moment. "Fine, but you follow my orders." "Understood." The military team used thermal drills that cut through the ancient ice with surprising speed. By nightfall, they had created a shaft large enough for a person to descend. "I'm going down first," Lisa announced, securing herself to a harness. Alan insisted on following immediately after. As they were lowered into the darkness, their headlamps revealed something unexpected. The ice gave way to a smooth tunnel of some unknown material. "This isn't natural," Lisa whispered, her voice echoing slightly. When they reached the bottom, they found themselves in a vast chamber. Their lights couldn't reach the distant walls. The floor beneath them hummed with energy. "It's some kind of facility," Alan said, his voice filled with wonder. "But who built it? When?" Lisa touched her earpiece. "Command, we found a structure. Appears to be man-made, but predates any known Arctic exploration." As they moved forward, lights began to activate around them, revealing a massive central column reaching from floor to ceiling. Panels lined the walls, covered in dust, but clearly technological in nature. "This is impossible," Alan breathed. "This technology, it's beyond anything we have now." Lisa approached one of the panels, wiping away centuries of dust. Symbols glowed beneath her touch, not in any language she recognized. Suddenly, the entire chamber hummed to life. The central column began to glow with a soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. "What did you do?" Alan asked, backing away. "Nothing," Lisa replied. "It's activating on its own." A voice filled the chamber, speaking in a language neither of them understood. Then, as if adjusting, it switched to English. "Guardian Defense System 1 reactivating. Standby mode terminated. Threat assessment initiating." A holographic display appeared before them, showing the solar system. A red dot blinked at its edge. "Unidentified vessels detected. Approach vector indicates Earth as destination. Estimated arrival, 37 days." Alan and Lisa exchanged shocked glances. "What is this place?" Alan asked, his voice barely a whisper. The voice answered, "I am Guardian 1, Earth's primary defense system. I was created by humanity 3,427 years ago to protect against extraterrestrial threats." "That's impossible," Lisa said. "Humanity didn't have this technology thousands of years ago." "Incorrect," Guardian 1 replied. "Humanity once possessed technology far beyond your current capabilities. This knowledge was deliberately erased following the Great Darkness." The hologram shifted, showing dozens of massive ships approaching from deep space. "The shadows have returned," Guardian 1 stated. Earth requires its defenders once more. Sam Wilkins rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the monitor. 3 nights in a row, the same strange patterns had appeared in the Deep Space Telescope data. At first, he thought it was equipment failure. Now he wasn't so sure. "Hey Diane, can you look at this?" he called to his supervisor. Diane Kelly walked over, coffee mug in hand, and leaned over his shoulder. Her eyes widened as she took in the readings. "That's not an equipment malfunction," she said quietly. "Those are engine signatures, big ones." Within hours, the data had been sent to every major space agency on Earth. Within days, the United Nations had called an emergency session. Commander Eric Daniels stood before the hastily formed Stellar Defense Initiative, his military uniform crisp despite having been awake for nearly 48 hours. "The objects are currently passing Neptune's orbit," he explained to the room of government officials and military leaders. "Their speed and trajectory confirm they are not natural phenomena. These are vessels, and they are headed directly for Earth." In the Arctic facility, Dr. Alan Pierce and Captain Lisa Reynolds worked alongside a growing team of scientists and military personnel. Guardian 1's activation had sparked a global response. "Guardian 1," Lisa asked, "what defenses do we have against these approaching ships?" The holographic display shifted to show Earth, surrounded by points of light. The Guardian network once consisted of 17 defensive platforms throughout the solar system. The AI responded. "Current status assessment. 14 platforms offline. 3 platforms in standby mode." "Can you activate the others?" Alan asked. "Restoration protocols initiated, but power cores in most platforms have degraded beyond functional capacity." At Jupiter's orbit, the research station Galileo monitored the approaching fleet. The station housed 37 scientists and support staff, all now watching as the unknown vessels approach. "They're changing course," reported Dr. Paul Garcia over the emergency channel. "They're heading straight for the station. We're evacuating now." The transmission ended in static. Back on Earth, Maya Ortiz stood before a wall of screens in the United Nations Communications Center. As Earth's leading expert in linguistic patterns, she had been tasked with attempting contact with the approaching vessels. "I sent greetings in over 50 languages and mathematical sequences," she reported. No response. Guardian 1's holographic interface pulsed with increasing intensity. "I am receiving data from Jovian Defense Boys," it announced. "Research Station Galileo has been destroyed. No survivors detected." The room fell silent. "The approaching fleet has established positions around Jupiter's moons," Guardian 1 continued. "They appear to be harvesting resources. Analysis of their ship design confirms identity. Void hegemony forces." "Who are they?" Lisa asked. The Void hegemony was once a minor power in the Orion Spur. During the Great Darkness, they were among those who preyed upon isolated human colonies. Alan leaned forward. "You mean humans had colonies beyond Earth?" Humanity once controlled over 200 star systems as part of the Concordat Alliance. After the Great Darkness, all interstellar travel capability was deliberately abandoned. Commander Daniels received the report while en route to the Arctic facility. His face grew grim as he read the details. "The outer mining colonies on Saturn's moons have gone silent," he informed his staff. "The hegemony ships are moving inward through our system, taking control of each planet's resources as they go." In the depths of Guardian 1's facility, Alan discovered a sealed chamber. When opened, it revealed rows of sleek, humanoid robots. "Defense auxiliaries," Guardian 1 explained. "They can be deployed to protect critical infrastructure." Lisa stared at the machines. "We need more than just these. We need to understand what we're facing." "The information exists in the Forgotten Archives," Guardian 1 replied. "But accessing them requires activation of the Mars Defense Platform. It houses the primary historical database." On a view screen, they watched as the Void hegemony ships established positions around Jupiter, their dark hulls reflecting the gas giant's stormy surface. The invasion had begun. Dr. Olivia Barrett brushed sand from the ancient stone tablet she had uncovered beneath the Egyptian desert. For years, her research into early human civilizations had been dismissed as fringe science. Now, as she traced the strange symbols with her finger, she knew she had been right all along. "This isn't hieroglyphics," she muttered to herself. "These are technical schematics." Her satellite phone rang, startling her in the quiet dig site. "Dr. Barrett, this is Commander Daniels of the Stellar Defense Initiative. We need you to bring your findings to our facility immediately." 2 days later, Olivia stood in Guardian One's chamber, her tablet connected to the ancient AI system. "These symbols mesh Guardian protocols," the AI confirmed. "This tablet contains instructions for activating dormant defense networks." Alan Pierce looked up from his workstation. "We found similar markings at sites around the world. Stonehenge, Nazca, Göbekli Tepe. They weren't religious sites. They were markers for buried technology." Guardian One projected a global map showing dozens of glowing points. "Each location houses components of Earth's surface-to-space defense grid. With proper activation codes, I can restore partial functionality." Lisa Reynolds studied the map. "Do it. We need everything we can get." As Guardian One began the activation process, screens around the chamber lit up with incoming signals. "Mars Defense Platform has responded to activation ping," Guardian One announced. "However, full restoration requires direct interface at the facility." Commander Daniels frowned. "We have no way to reach Mars before the hegemony gets there." "Actually, we might," Alan said. "Guardian One, do you have access to any space-capable vehicles?" Hangar Bay 3 contains 3 orbital insertion vessels. They were designed for rapid deployment of Guardian personnel. In a massive underground chamber, 3 sleek craft sat untouched for millennia. Captain Daniel Rodriguez, a decorated fighter pilot, ran his hand along the smooth hull. "These look fast," he said with a slight smile. "How long to reach Mars?" 3 days, Guardian One replied. "Significantly faster than current human spacecraft." While Rodriguez prepared for the mission, Guardian One continued restoring Earth's forgotten systems. Beneath the lunar surface, automated factories began producing defensive drones. In the Pacific, a massive platform rose from the ocean floor. Olivia worked tirelessly, translating more recovered texts. According to these records, Earth was the birthplace of an alliance called the Concordat. We weren't just part of it. We led it. Alan nodded. Guardian One has confirmed the same. Humanity once controlled hundreds of star systems. But why would we abandon all that? Lisa asked. Why erase our own history? Guardian One's holographic interface pulsed. That information is sealed in the Mars archives. However, preliminary data suggests it was a deliberate choice following a catastrophic war. On the Moon, automatic defenses activated as hegemony scout ships approached. Brief flashes of light marked their destruction. "We've bought some time," Commander Daniels announced, "but the main fleet is still coming." Captain Rodriguez and his small crew boarded the ancient spacecraft. The engines hummed to life with unexpected power. Guardian Transport Alpha launching, he reported as the craft rose through an opening in the ice. From orbit, they watched Earth grow smaller behind them, its surface now dotted with activated defense platforms. Ahead, Mars glowed red against the blackness of space. "I'm detecting hegemony ships near Mars," reported Rodriguez's navigation officer, Ben Lawson. "They've established a presence around Phobos. We'll have to outrun them," Rodriguez replied. Guardian One, any suggestions for approaching undetected? The southern polar approach remains unmonitored. The defense platform is located beneath Olympus Mons. As they accelerated toward Mars, Olivia made another discovery in the ancient texts. "Listen to this," she told Alan and Lisa. "When the stars grew dark with hunger, we chose to forget rather than feed them. Better to live in ignorance than remember what waits beyond." "What does that mean?" Lisa asked. Alan stared at the approaching hegemony fleet on the monitors. I think it means these invaders might not be the worst thing out there. Nathan Collins hadn't flown anything in 5 years, not since the accident that took his left leg. Now he stood before 30 nervous pilots, his prosthetic hidden beneath his flight suit. "I know what you're thinking," he said to the assembled group. "These ships are alien tech. No human has flown them before." He gestured to the hangar behind him, where sleek, angular craft sat waiting. Guardian 1 had directed them to this underground base beneath the Rocky Mountains. Wrong. Humans built these fighters. Our ancestors flew them. And today, we remember how. The pilots trained in simulators patched together from Guardian 1's databases. What would have taken months was compressed into days by necessity. The Hegemony fleet had established control of Mars orbit, despite Rodriguez's team making it to the surface. In the Arctic facility, Guardian 1 continued reassembling Earth's history. The war lasted 17 years, the AI explained to Commander Daniels and his staff. The Concordat faced an enemy that consumed entire star systems. Not the Hegemony, Lisa asked. No, the Hegemony were scavengers who rose to power after the war. The true enemy was something far worse. Grace Hoffman worked in what had once been a university engineering lab. Now it was a makeshift research facility where a captured Hegemony scout ship was being disassembled. Their tech is advanced, she explained to the scientists and engineers around her, but it's based on principles we can understand. More importantly, I found weaknesses. She pointed to the ship's propulsion system. Their engines leave a radiation signature we can track, and their shields can't withstand concentrated electromagnetic pulses. Around the world, resistance cells formed as Hegemony ground forces began landing in remote areas. They came not in massive invasions, but in small groups, establishing footholds and communication relays. In New Zealand, farmers fought off Hegemony troops with Guardian-provided weapons. In Siberia, former military personnel established a defense perimeter around a newly activated Guardian subsystem. Guardian 1's interface flickered as it established new connections. I have restored communication with Guardian 3 on Venus and Guardian 12 on Europa. Can they help us? Alan asked. Guardian 3 controls a solar interference array. It can disrupt Hegemony communications and targeting systems. Guardian 12 monitors deep space for approaching threats. And what about Mars? Lisa asked. Any word from Rodriguez? Intermittent communication only. They have reached the facility but are under siege by Hegemony forces. On Mars, Captain Rodriguez and his team had barricaded themselves inside the ancient structure beneath Olympus Mons. The Mars defense platform was partially operational, but Hegemony forces surrounded them. We found survivors, Rodriguez reported during a brief communication window. Human descendants who maintained the facility for generations. They never forgot our history. He transmitted data packages containing historical records, technical specifications, and most importantly, activation codes for Earth's remaining defense systems. Nathan Collins led the first counterattack against a Hegemony landing site in Australia. The recovered fighters performed beyond expectations, their ancient weapons cutting through enemy defenses. Don't get overconfident, he warned his pilots as they returned from the successful mission. We caught them by surprise. They'll adapt. On Earth's moon, the automated factories accelerated production of defense drones. Grace Hoffman's team had modified them based on the weaknesses they'd discovered. We can blind their sensors, she explained to Commander Daniels. Create a window for Collins' fighters to strike their command ships. Guardian 1's holographic display showed the main Hegemony fleet, now positioned between Earth and Mars. They are preparing for their primary assault, the AI announced. Estimated time to Earth orbit, 48 hours. In the Arctic facility, Alan and Lisa studied the historical data from Mars. According to this, Alan said, humanity deliberately dismantled most of its technology. We buried the Guardians and erased our own history. But why? Lisa asked. Guardian 1's voice seemed to carry a hint of sadness. Because advanced technology served as a beacon. And what it attracted was far worse than the hegemony. As night fell across Earth, people looked to the stars, knowing that the real battle was about to begin. Dr. Kevin Walsh stepped out of the transport craft onto the surface of Venus. His environmental suit, recovered from Guardian 1 storage, protected him from the planet's crushing pressure and acid atmosphere. "I still can't believe we're on Venus," said his teammate, Ellie Morgan. "A week ago, I was teaching astronomy at a community college." "Guardian 3 is 2 kilometers east," Kevin replied, checking his navigation display. "We need to move quickly." The surface of Venus was a hellscape of volcanic rock and sulfuric acid clouds. Yet beneath this hostile environment lay one of humanity's most powerful forgotten weapons. As Kevin led his small team across the barren landscape, Guardian 1 continued communicating with the awakened systems across the solar system. Guardian network partially restored, it announced to the command center on Earth. 7 of 17 platforms now online. Commander Daniels studied the holographic display showing the positions of hegemony ships. "Is it enough?" "Unknown," Guardian 1 replied. "The hegemony fleet has grown since initial detection. They appear to be summoning reinforcements from nearby star systems." On Mars, Captain Rodriguez and his team had made contact with the human caretakers who had maintained the Mars facility for generations. They were descended from the original Guardian staff, preserving knowledge through oral tradition and hidden texts. "Our ancestors chose to stay," explained Elder Mira, an older woman who led the small community. "They knew someday the Guardians would be needed again." Rodriguez established a secure communication link with Earth. "Commander, the Mars archives are intact. I'm sending you everything we found." The transmission included detailed specifications of the Guardian network, a system far more extensive than they had imagined. The Sentinels were created as a unified defense grid, Guardian 1 explained as the new data was integrated. Each platform served a specific function in the system. "And what was your function?" Alan asked. "I was the command node. In the event of attack, I would coordinate all defensive operations throughout the solar system." On Venus, Kevin's team reached the entrance to Guardian 3. The massive doors, hidden beneath layers of rock, began to open as they approached. "It recognizes the access codes," Kevin reported back to Earth. Inside, they found a vast chamber filled with crystalline structures arranged in concentric circles. "What is this place?" Ellie asked in wonder. "Guardian 3 houses the Solar Manipulation Array," Guardian 1 explained through their comms. "It can release targeted electromagnetic pulses using the sun's energy." As Kevin activated the main console, the entire facility hummed to life. On displays around Earth's command center, a new node appeared in the Guardian network. "Venus Defense Array online," Guardian 1 announced. "Solar manipulation capabilities at 60% capacity. Can it target the hegemony fleet?" Commander Daniels asked. "Affirmative. Guardian 3 can disrupt their communication and navigation systems." In orbit around Jupiter, Guardian 8 activated next, its automated asteroid defense cannons coming online. Then Guardian 12 at Europa, with its deep space monitoring arrays. "The Guardian network is establishing synchronization," reported Guardian 1. "Unified defense protocols initiating." On Earth, Grace Hoffman rushed into the command center with new findings from the captured hegemony ship. "We've decrypted more of their communications," she announced. "They're not just invaders, they're refugees. Something destroyed their home systems, and they're fleeing ahead of it." The main view screen showed the hegemony fleet approaching Earth's orbit, thousands of ships, far more than initially detected. "All units prepare for defensive engagement," Commander Daniels ordered. Nathan Collins led his fighters into low orbit, ready to intercept the first wave. Guardian drones positioned themselves around Earth's atmosphere. "Guardian 1, Alan asked, with the network coming online, can we defeat them?" A holographic interface pulsed thoughtfully. "The current hegemony technology is inferior to Guardian-era human technology. Historical records indicate that at our peak, Humanity possessed military capabilities that surpassed all known galactic powers. Then why did we fall? Lisa asked. You did not fall, Guardian 1 corrected. You chose to hide. The records from Mars confirm that humanity deliberately regressed technologically to become invisible to something far more dangerous than the hegemony. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. The hegemony fleet is entering Earth orbit, Guardian 1 announced. All Guardian platforms standing by for coordinated defense. As Earth prepared for battle, a new signal appeared at the edge of the system. Another Guardian platform activating on distant Pluto. The hegemony's first wave descended toward Earth like a storm of metal and energy. Their weapons carved glowing lines across the night sky as planetary defenses responded in kind. Nathan Collins led his squadron through the chaos, the ancient fighters moving with surprising grace. Target their command vessels, he ordered. Remember your training. On the ground, civilians watched in awe and terror as the battle unfolded overhead. Strange lights flashed across the sky, and occasionally, the burning remains of ships streaked through the atmosphere. In the Arctic Command Center, Commander Daniels coordinated Earth's defenses. Guardian 3, status on the solar pulse. Solar interference array charged to maximum capacity. Came the response from the Venus platform, awaiting synchronization with other Guardian nodes. Guardian 1's holographic interface expanded to show the entire solar system. All active Guardian platforms now synchronized. Combined defensive action possible. What does that mean exactly? Lisa asked. The Guardians were designed to work as one system, Alan explained, understanding dawning on his face. Together, they're more powerful than the sum of their parts. Correct, Guardian 1 confirmed, initiating Concordat Defense Protocol Alpha. Across the solar system, the awakened Guardian platforms began to pulse with energy. On Venus, Kevin Walsh and his team watched as the crystalline structures glowed with increasing intensity. Energy levels rising exponentially, Ellie reported, checking her instruments. Whatever it's doing, it's big. In orbit, Nathan's pilots witnessed the change firsthand. Something's happening to the hegemony ships, one reported. Their systems are failing. The hegemony command vessels began to drift, their weapons and engines suddenly offline. Guardian 3 had released its solar pulse, a carefully modulated wave of electromagnetic energy that targeted specific frequencies used by hegemony technology. It worked, Grace Hoffman shouted, looking at the data streaming in. Their shields are down. All units, press the advantage, Commander Daniels ordered. Nathan's fighters swept through the disabled fleet, targeting engines and weapon systems. Guardian drones swarmed larger vessels, attaching themselves to key systems and shutting them down from within. On Mars, Captain Rodriguez and the caretaker community watched through ancient monitoring systems as the tide of battle turned. Your ancestors built incredible defenses, Rodriguez told Elder Mira. They built them hoping they would never be needed, she replied solemnly. What concerns me is what comes next. In the Arctic facility, Dr. Pierce made a discovery while analyzing the Mars archives. Commander, I found something about why humanity retreated technologically. They called it the Veil. What is it? Daniels asked. Not what, Alan corrected. Who? An ancient entity or civilization that consumed advanced species. The records say they're attracted to certain types of technology and energy signatures. Lissa looked up from her station, like the ones we're currently generating with the Guardian network. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Guardian 1's interface pulsed rapidly, receiving transmission from Guardian 12 at Europa. Deep space arrays have detected movement beyond Pluto's orbit. More hegemony ships? Commander Daniels asked. Negative. Unknown configuration. Moving at speeds exceeding known hegemony capability. In orbit, the battle had turned decidedly in Earth's favor. The hegemony command ship, a massive vessel at the center of their fleet, began broadcasting on all frequencies. We seek parley, The message came in a halting, translated voice. We did not know this system was protected by Guardians. Why should we trust you after you attacked us? Commander Daniels responded. We flee the darkness that consumes stars. We sought resources to continue our journey. Had we known this was a Concordat world, we would have approached differently. Guardian 1 processed this information. Their claim aligns with historical records. The hegemony was once a minor power that scavenged abandoned systems after the Great Retreat. As the negotiations began, a signal reached Earth from deep space. Guardian 1's interface changed color as it processed the transmission. I am receiving a message on ancient Concordat frequencies, it announced. Origin: Proxima Centauri system. The message was brief but clear. Guardian activation detected. We have awakened our Guardian as well. After centuries of silence, is it time for humanity to return to the stars? Or has the veil found you too? Commander Daniels looked to Alan and Lisa. What does this mean? It means, Alan said slowly, that we're not alone. There are other human colonies out there. And they've been hiding just like us. Lisa added, until now. The command center fell silent as Guardian 1 projected the approaching objects from beyond Pluto. Unlike the chaotic formation of the hegemony fleet, these vessels moved with perfect precision, a mathematical pattern that seemed both beautiful and terrifying. We need answers before they arrive, Commander Daniels said, turning to the holographic interface. Guardian 1, tell us everything about the veil. The AI's image pulsed slowly before responding. The veil is not a single entity but a collective consciousness. They exist partially in our dimension and partially in another. Our ancestors encountered them 3,427 years ago during humanity's expansion into the Orion Arm. Alan studied the historical data flowing across his screen. According to this, humanity once controlled over 200 star systems. We had technology far beyond what we have today. Artificial gravity, faster than light travel, matter conversion. Such technology creates specific energy signatures. Guardian 1 continued. The veil is drawn to these signatures like predators to light. They do not communicate. They do not negotiate. They consume. Consume what exactly? Lisa asked. Everything. Planets, stars, and most importantly, minds. They absorb consciousness into their collective. On the main screen, the hegemony command ship had begun retreating along with the remainder of their fleet. Their message was clear. They would rather face the emptiness of space than what was coming. Captain Rodriguez's voice came through from Mars. We've reviewed the ancient defense protocols with Elder Mira. There's a reason the Guardians were built the way they were. Explain, Commander Daniels requested. The Guardians weren't just a defense system. They were designed to be invisible to the veil. Their energy signatures operate on frequencies the veil cannot detect. Guardian 1's interface expanded to show the full Guardian network. Correct. The Guardian network was humanity's final project before the Great Retreat. Its purpose was twofold: to protect the solar system and to eventually provide a means to defeat the veil permanently. How? Alan asked. By studying them without being detected. For millennia, Guardian 12 has been gathering data on the veil's movements throughout the galaxy. Guardian 8 has been testing weapons designed to affect their extra-dimensional aspects. In orbit, Nathan Collins received new orders. All fighters return to Earth immediately. I repeat, all units return planetside. As his squadron descended through the atmosphere, Nathan looked back to see the distant flashes of the hegemony ships jumping away, fleeing the solar system. In the command center, Grace Hoffman worked frantically with her team to analyze the data from Guardian 12. If these readings are correct, the Veil ships will reach Earth in 6 days. Can we fight them? Commander Daniels asked. Guardian 1 displayed historical battle records. Previous encounters resulted in total defeat for Concordat forces. However, the Guardian network was designed based on those failures. We have weapons that may be effective. From Proxima Centauri, more messages arrived. Then from Tau Ceti, then from a dozen other nearby stars. Human colonies, hidden for millennia, responding to the Guardian activation. We are not alone in this fight, Guardian 1 announced. The Great Retreat scattered humanity across 57 star systems. Each colony took a piece of the plan to defeat the Veil. Elder Mira's voice joined the conversation from Mars. Our ancestors called it the Concordat Gambit. They knew that someday the Veil would find us again, so they prepared a trap spanning centuries and light years. Guardian 1's interface shifted to show a galactic map with glowing points representing each human colony. When all Guardian systems activate in sequence, they create a dimensional barrier. The Veil ships approaching Earth are not the main force. They are scouts. By allowing them to enter our system while the barrier forms, we trap them. Alan finished, understanding the plan. And study them, Lisa added. Learn how to defeat them permanently. Dr. Kevin Walsh's voice came through from Venus. Guardian 3 is ready. The solar array is aligned with the other platforms. Similar reports came in from the other Guardian facilities across the solar system. Earth's forgotten defenses, hidden for thousands of years, prepared for their true purpose. Commander Daniels looked around at the determined faces in the command center. So this is humanity's moment of truth. Do we hide again, or do we stand and fight? Alan stepped forward. Our ancestors left us the tools to win this war. They sacrificed everything they had built to give us this chance. 6 months had passed since the activation of the Concordat Gambit. Earth had changed in ways few could have imagined. Cities now featured Guardian defense towers that stretched into the sky. Ancient technology, dormant for millennia, had been integrated into daily life. Alan Pierce stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed orbital command station. Through the viewport, he watched ships coming and going, vessels from Earth and from the scattered human colonies that had remained hidden for thousands of years. Still hard to believe, isn't it? Lisa said, joining him at the window. Alan nodded. 6 months ago, I was digging ice cores in the Arctic. Now I'm watching interstellar ships dock at an orbital station. The trap had worked better than anyone had anticipated. When the Veil scouts entered the solar system, the synchronized Guardian network had created a dimensional barrier that not only contained them but reversed their phase state. Instead of being partially in another dimension, they were forced fully into ours. For the first time in human history, the Veil could be studied directly. Dr. Pierce, Captain Reynolds, Commander Daniels called from the doorway. The Concordat Council is assembling. They followed him through corridors filled with people from a dozen different colony worlds. Some looked nearly identical to Earth humans, while others showed subtle adaptations to their home environments. Slightly different skin tones, height variations, even minor differences in facial structure. The council chamber was a large circular room with representatives from each of the reclaimed colony worlds. At the center stood a containment field housing a small fragment of the Veil, a swirling mass of darkness that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Elder Mira, now representing Mars, nodded to them as they entered. Beside her sat the representatives from Proxima Centauri, Tau Ceti, and other star systems with names that had been forgotten on Earth for millennia. The containment field is holding, reported Grace Hoffman, who had become Earth's leading expert on Veil technology. We've learned more in 6 months than our ancestors did in decades of conflict. Guardian 1's holographic interface appeared above the central table. The dimensional barrier remains stable across all 57 systems. Phase 2 of the Gambit is ready to commence. Nathan Collins entered, now wearing the uniform of the newly formed Concordat Defense Force. Scout ships report the Veil main fleet has changed course. They're converging on the Arcturus system. As predicted, Guardian 1 confirmed. They sensed the trapped scouts and moved to rescue them. Kevin Walsh, recently returned from Venus, brought up a galactic map. With the knowledge from all colonies combined, we've mapped the Veil's movement patterns across the galaxy. They've consumed at least 17 civilizations over the past 10,000 years. And we're next if the gambit fails, Commander Daniels said grimly. The representative from Ta City, a tall woman named Jaya, stood. On my world, we developed weapons that could harm the Veil's physical manifestations, but never their extra-dimensional aspects. Proxima Centauri created shielding technology that could resist their mind absorption capabilities, added their representative. And Earth's guardians provided the means to trap them between dimensions, Lisa said, understanding dawning on her face. Each colony was working on a different piece of the solution. Aelin looked around the chamber. Our ancestors knew no single world could defeat the Veil alone. So they scattered, each taking a piece of the puzzle. Guardian One's interface pulsed with approval. The Concordat was never truly dissolved. It was transformed, hiding in plain sight across dozens of worlds, waiting for the right moment to reunite. Outside the viewport, a massive ship moved into position. Unlike the sleek vessels of the colonies, this one was ancient, recovered from deep within Mercury, the last surviving Concordat battleship. The Retribution is ready, Nathan reported. Crews from all colonies have volunteered. Commander Daniels surveyed the council. Then it's decided. We take the fight to them. As the council session ended, Alan and Lisa remained at the viewport, watching the battleship prepare for its mission. It would lead the United Concordat fleet to Arcturus, carrying the weapons and knowledge gathered from all human worlds. Do you think we can win? Lisa asked quietly. Aelin looked at the stars, no longer distant and unreachable. Our ancestors didn't just hide us from the Veil. They hid us from ourselves, from what we were capable of becoming. Maybe it's time we remembered. On the command deck of the Retribution, Captain Rodriguez prepared for departure. The ship hummed with power as ancient engines awakened.